All right, at 4:01, we will call the meeting to order for a special meeting that is about the 2015 revised budget. And I'm going to be a little slow as I'm taking minutes since Donna Sue's not here this afternoon.
Want me to do it?
I got it. I'm good. I'm going to ask Commissioner Shingleton to bring us up to where we were.
You betcha. I'm just kind of catching up a little bit here. But let's see. We made it through. So last time at our regular meeting, we made it through medical. So on page 2, near the bottom, medical, we made it through there.
Okay.
And I'm just trying to go ahead.
While she's trying to figure it out, I would like to revisit medical because I actually have a couple of questions concerning the medical, if we could. Because I'm still unclear of a couple of things, and I just want to make sure. And it has to do with that 90%.
He was saying that I meant from my perspective. Yeah, go
It
ahead.
has to do with the 90% and the 50%. I want to know, are we doing that? 90% for the employee, 50% for spouses and children. We are currently doing that?
No.
Okay.
It's 90-10 is what.
See, this is the problem I have, Mr. Chair, if I may. Because
Can you hold on just a second so I can catch up?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
you're only talking about probably one employee, right? Where we're talking about spouses.
At this point.
Okay, so your question again, Steve, for me is...
My question is that we passed back in, I want to think it would have been the spring of 2014. We passed a motion to pay, actually it would have been, winter time, probably February of 2014. We passed a motion to pay 90% of the employees' medical insurance and 50% of their spouse and children at the time. And I don't know where that fell off at. If it fell off with Mr. Wolf when he was the interim director, because when it was originally passed, we had no director at the time. So I don't know if when Gino became the director, if somehow that fell off.
Okay.
And why it's a concern to me is, if we're going to, we're looking at the budget right now. We have to make that right. We said we were going to do something. We're not doing it, and I have big concerns with that. And I don't know where it fell off at. Does that make sense?
Yes. So what are we currently paying, Joanna?
I believe we're doing the 90-10. When I emailed,
90-10?
well, 90% and then the 10%, they get deducted from their paycheck.
Right. So we're paying 90-10 for employees and 90-10 for the spouse and
No,
children
they're not
also?
paying anything for the spouse.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
I
think there's still a deduction coming out of Matt's check.
Of Max's check for his spouse.
So, what are we paying for the spouse and the children?
I have to check that.
Okay, so we're uncertain what we're paying for spouse and the
Can you
certain.
check
It's not,
No, I honestly don't.
you don't know? That's fine.
Yeah, that's okay.
Can we find that out and bring that to our regular meeting next week?
Well,
Is that gonna work?
I can find it now.
Oh, can you? Oh, fantastic, yeah. Well,
Bill's is fantastic.
while we're discussing this, if you could go find that out and come back, that would be great.
It is imperative because you can't move forward with the budget
Right.
if the insurance is.
Well, let's find out what it is first before we jump to, yeah.
Okay.
Let's find out what it is.
So we leave a placeholder there, is that right?
Thank you for-
What's that?
We leave
Yes.
kind of a open tick.
Yeah, we'll come back to,
Start
we'll come-
And why that's important, not just is it important for this employee, it's important going forward with the director search, because there's a possibility that whoever we decide to hire you know, that they have a wife and a child, and we
Right.
need to know.
Well, I think that's an easy fix, and I
Yeah,
think we'll take care of
Yeah,
that.
thank
Or
you.
a husband, a
Or,
spouse.
yes, you're right. Thank you for correcting me.
So sick and vacation pay.
Thank you.
Is this up to date with what we currently are paying out for the revised budget for the director, aquatic director, head coach, and maintenance supervisor on sick and vacation pay?
Yes.
Okay, and that is including to their contracts and the salaries, correct? That's commensurate?
Yes.
So there's no changes there, that's going to remain the same.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, ma'am?
Can I go back, unfortunately, but can I quickly just go back to revenues? I have
Yes,
some
please.
numbers that either I did not record accurately or are different, and I'm not quite sure why.
We went through and changed just a couple of them
Okay.
based on looking at last year's revenues and what has come in so far.
Okay, it would be really helpful when you do that, to save time to annotate that in some way. It just saves a lot of time and it saves confusion because, I mean, at the end of the day, we're looking for at least a zero-sum game here. And so while I realize one added 5,000, one took away 5,000, and that's a net of zero, they're just different. But it makes me look and change the numbers, or have to validate the numbers completely. So I guess we feel confident then with, okay, so open family swim went down, or went up 5,000. Youth swim lessons went down 5,000. And locker rental went up 200.
Correct.
Okay. So can I feel like it's fair to ask this, can I get a commitment that if we're changing the numbers that are different from what we said here, that someone's going to let us know that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. It's a net of 200 overall, but I just wanted to be sure that we understood that. Okay, so, sorry, go ahead.
No, are we
Thank you.
And
are we
before
good?
you go on, I do want to clarify one thing, and then we can go on. On this payroll benefits, just so you know, because if a person looks at that, they're going to see the 7% of base salary. It doesn't add up math-wise. And the reason it is this way is we were assuming if the director were to be hired, I think the beginning of July, that's the, if you looked at.
That would be commensurate from July to the end of
At the
the...
same time, the swim coach to this point in time has not contributed any money to that retirement. But if he were to start doing it June 1st, that's what it would have been.
All right.
That's how it got to that place.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
That's correct.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Now,
And,
thank you.
all right.
Do we know how we had a negative expense for director, sick and vacation pay last year?
This is the email.
So, which would effectively be a credit,
Kimberly.
Because we didn't have a director for the first year.
but then it should just be zero. It shouldn't be a credit, right? It's the opposite of how the numbers should be. I am right there. So 2014 actuals, director, sick and vacation pay.
Gotcha.
That,
Okay.
And this was actually my
Okay,
original
there you go. The
question.
2,826.
This is what she had told me.
Okay.
What do you got, Sean?
What's that?
What do you got?
I got some emails, and let me finish here. So when Joanne sent the email here to Kimberly Spreetsma. She's from Cummings Fraser and Associates, the group account manager for our.
Okay.
All right. We're paying 100% for the employee's premium. And we've been doing this, according to Kimberly, since 2008. So when we made the change, when we voted and made that change back in 2014, no change was made to the policy.
Okay.
So what we need to do is, Joanne, have we paid, do you know if there are any medical expenses that you are aware of for the spouses or family members we're paying between then and now?
If they made any.
Did any of the...
Not that we're aware of.
Not that we're aware of. We need to check and make sure. And then we need to find out, contact Kimberly at Group Accountant at Cummings Fraser and Associates and say we need to get the quotes to cover the healthcare the way that we voted on in a resolution, which would be 90/10 for the employee and 50% for spouse and children.
Okay.
And I think that is what's deducting from Matt's check.
That is
present.
what's-
It's what's from Matt's check now,
I
currently?
believe so. I think everyone who has health insurance, which is Matt.
Don't use names, please.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So we have one employee that uses health insurance?
No, you have.
Give me a number, please.
3?
3, I believe.
3.
3 employees? And all 3 are being deducted correctly now?
Yes.
They're being deducted based on what you guys voted on.
The 90, 10, and 50?
I believe so. I think it just did not get updated with the insurance broker. I think that's where it
Okay.
fell through the cracks.
Okay. Does that answer your questions?
It does, if you could just verify it, just for.
Yeah, if we can verify that by the next regular scheduled
Because
meeting,
what I'm
that'd be
looking
great.
for is what's being deducted out of their pay, you know, well,
That they're-
what we're paying. That's my big concern. And plus, I want the employees to be taken care of. I don't want it to be to where we voted to pay 50% for a spouse and we're paying nothing. That's just not right.
Yeah, and we've got a spouse running up bills,
No.
so,
And it's spouse and children. So,
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
so are we good with medical?
We're good for it now.
All right, so we're good with medical, we're good with sick and vacation, any questions there?
Just as it relates to, I realize it's not the 2015 budget, but I'd really just like, it doesn't need to be today, but I'd like a follow-up to understand why the 2014 actuals for director sick and vacation pay are a credit. And I'd just like to understand that better, whether that was, I want to understand that better.
Joanne, do you know that?
And we can, again, it can be tabled for our regular meeting, but I would like,
Okay.
I'd like an understanding for that.
So why credit?
Why credit, and we'll table that till next week's regular scheduled meeting.
Following meeting. No?
Yes, the following week, thank you very much. All right. So we'll move on to page 3 of 4 of the budget. It's employee. Travels down from 8,000 to 4,000. 1,000 for employee uniforms and 1 in uniforms. Those are the rash guards.
Lifeguard shirts and rash guards, yeah.
Okay.
However, the travel is actually up from our last copy by over 50%. So what happened?
I added in the travel budget approved for the director candidate to be flown up here and the hotel to be taken care of. I added that in there.
Well, that was 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and this is 1,600 more.
Yeah.
So where did the other 600 come from?
Oh, I'm sorry. The other 600. I will check on that. I have that answer for you. I'll be right back.
And I realize that it might seem nitpicky, but when we recognize that we're currently on the wrong side of this by a little bit. I mean, it's really close, and I just want to be sure that we understand where. I mean, $600. You know,
It's a big deal when you're 2,200 from being a balanced budget. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. Because if it doesn't come from here, it's going to come from somewhere else.
Yep.
I believe that was based on the amount of meets that we have to go to for the rest of the year. And how many of those are going to be quite a few miles from home in Federal Way and in Yakima for coaches travel.
So, how much did we spend, and here's a question, how much since the candidate for the director's position has come and gone, how much did we spend?
So it's 390 on the plane ticket, 46 on the car rental, and 89 on the hotel, so 15, 525.
So, we only spent 525 on the direct.
Plus meals.
Plus meals.
Yeah,
So 600, 700.
Yeah, I said 700.
So can we slash 300 from that and be safe?
I would say so.
So there's 300 right there, correct?
Yeah, so you could go take that travel down to 4,300.
4,300. All right. So there's 300 right there. And when we talk about meets, away meets, we know we have Yakima coming up. That was scheduled. What do we have in Federal Way?
We have age group sectional or age group champs federal way. We have 2 meets.
Long course and Prothero, correct?
Yep, long course and Prothero. And
Okay, and how many children do we have swimming at long course?
Oh my goodness, I want to say he's got 16, 17.
That many that have qualified for AGS?
Oh, not for AGS, that's Prothero.
Yes.
For AGS, I think 8. Because you have gold standards.
Okay.
I think they allow gold standards for the 10 and unders.
Can I ask
You
an
could ask that one
uninformed
better.
question? Does the number of kids have affect the travel budget?
No, it doesn't affect the travel budget. My question was, I was curious as to how many kids actually qualified for AGS.
Right.
So my question was based on, is it a planned meet, or are we actually going to be sending the coach down there for 1 or 2 kids?
Oh, that's the champs
gotcha.
meet. I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I don't know how many we have qualified for that one, actually.
So what is your thought on
My thought is that we may not be sending them down there. I mean, do we send coach down for 1 to 2 kids for AGS?
Fiscally responsible thing would be no.
That's correct.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there comes a point where
We have in the past.
we have.
But-
We sent a coach to Florida in the past.
Yeah.
For,
We,
for
yes,
zones
yeah,
for
we
one
s-
swimmer.
Right. We've done that in the past. However, our budget.
The budget, and I think
Right.
just I think the feeling of people in the community would never support that either.
No.
Yeah.
And so that's why I ask how many kids we have at AGS.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we know that number right now.
You know.
I still think we have some qualifying to do.
Yeah, there's qualifying all the way up to Prothero.
Yep.
You know.
But if we're, okay, so perhaps, and again, here's where I might not be understanding, if our current, through April, so we're at about, gosh, it was 900 something, sorry, I get lost in this a little bit from time to time. We're at 950 right now. Would that be, so that would put us back at about the 3,000 if in fact we say that he's been to about a third of the meets, or whatever that budget has been used for. I know some of it has been mileage reimbursement.
There has been some mileage reimbursement for other staff besides coach as well.
Okay, and I think what I'm trying to get at is do we feel that this is a representative number that you then times 3 and say it's about the same activity, or is there some differentiating factor that I'm unaware of that would need just a little bit more? That's what I'm trying to look at and understand how to get to a good number here.
Joanne, how much do we pay for every trip to Federal Way? You know, roughly? A couple $100? Would you mind? We can just double check.
Well, because the question I guess I would have, and perhaps I am unfamiliar with something, but if we're paying a few $100s for each person for a few people, is there a reason why we aren't making use of things like rental cars as opposed to paying exact mileage?
For the coach?
Sure.
We don't send the swimmers with the coach. The swimmers go down independently.
Well, I understand that, but if we're saying that we're reimbursing other people, that's
Oh, I see what you're saying.
right. And so what I'm trying to understand is if we have multiple people that are going to the same place, are they all being reimbursed separately, or do we need to be perhaps a little more efficient in that respect?
Carpooling.
Right, and or a rental car for 2 days would not give the same. I mean, it wouldn't do, the whole point of a mileage reimbursement is because of the wear and tear that it makes on your car. That's and gas. That's the whole point of it. If we say, hey, this might be a more
Beneficial.
right option in terms of, hey, you get to rent this fancy subcompact newish car for your trip, but you don't have to worry about wear and tear on your car. It's just one of those. There might be a benefit to doing that.
And in this case, some of that is coming from our weekly trips down to Coopville, to the county, to take our stuff. And so I don't think that a rental car would be a good option.
Well, no, but again, I'm talking about several $100s of reimbursements at one time for one trip. That's what I'm referring to. I also thought that that's part of why we had the vans, was those were being used to go to Coopville. So if we have a vehicle that that we're paying to maintain, it seems like, and if I'm missing something, somebody can share that with me, but if we have vehicles that we're paying to maintain, that was the whole purpose of them.
A previous employee used the van to go to Coopville. I believe the current employee doing that does not seek reimbursement. She just,
Okay, and the only reason I was mentioning this is because that's,
I believe she stays clocked in is how she's doing it. So there has been a change in how the person doing it does it.
And if it's an hourly employee who is doing the district's business, absolutely that person should be clocked in. I mean, that's, and if that was never the case,
okay. She comes back, but I believe that's.
But that's the right thing, of course. So if anyone was ever not doing that, I don't know that we were aware of that. Anyway, I'm just trying to look at ways that would not be, ways that would be more cost or expense friendly, but that would not be prohibitive or really difficult for people.
Well, and definitely if you had two coaches going to the same meet for some reason, it would make sense for them to rent a car and.
Yeah. Right. What do we have?
136.88 to Federal Way.
That's for gas.
Round trip, for mileage reimbursement.
And then if we stay overnight in a hotel, he has a cap of $87.
So at that point in time, it would be cheaper for the person to stay overnight for us.
Yeah, and we do.
And then we would require that. Yeah, I mean, you have one of the other options. I mean, this is the option we're giving you. If you choose not to stay and to come home, that's on you.
Yeah, and we do have a cap of $87 for hotel as well. Okay. And that's usually the option that is taken at that point.
Because that was a question.
Oh, yes.
I do appreciate what you said, Sean. There has to be some policy put in place to where, the coach is, we pay for the coach to go if there's X amount of kids.
Yes.
And it makes sense. I mean, there's 20 kids going somewhere, you should be paying for it. They need a coach. But if it's one or two kids,
I think that's something we need to do as we go forward.
Yes,
probably not to do at a budget meeting, but something we need to bring the coach in and get his input on us.
Yeah, I agree. Totally.
Thank you. All right, more questions about travel. So are we happy with 4,300?
I think that's good.
Until we are looking for places to cut.
Right.
I mean, that's, I'm kind of like, all right, there's a big.
You know what, if we're looking for one place to where we can make some money real quick, not to go back, but I've thought about this a lot. There is one place you can go to make up some money here on that $43,000 on NWPRD. And that is if we charge for the month of August. We're not closing the pool. Historically, we've closed the pool for 2 weeks in August, and that's why we didn't charge for August. The pool is going to be open the month of August. We should be charging children with their NWPRD for the month of August. And you've got 50 kids paying an average of $70 a month. So what, $3,500. I mean, immediately that's revenue. And we need to, at the next meeting, we'll change. I mean, there's really no policy to change. It's just the director.
Okay, I'm going to stop.
Yeah.
You're talking about making a motion?
No, you won't need to. Is my point. You won't need to. There's never been a policy in place that says we don't charge for August.
I just wanted to make sure we're not.
It would just be the director telling the swim coach, hey, let your swim kids know
that we're not closing for
because it would be horrible to drop them on them in July, right?
Yes.
Let them know now, and we could plan that in the budget. That's a way to make to add $3,500 of revenue instantly. Anyway.
For services that are already that are actually being rendered or received, right? Yeah.
And me having been a swim parent for 8 years, I would not have balked at that.
No.
Yeah. And I think that what that does is it goes to further the goodwill to the community. That they are very generous, and it just shows that we're trying our hardest to do things the right way. So I would like to see that put in the budget. And
well, let's go back to revenue then.
not to go backwards, but when we're looking at.
I don't think there is a backwards or forwards here. I think it's all connected. So NWAC dues,
and the reason, I'll tell you how we got to this real quick, Sean, if I may.
Please.
The thought was that we, up through April, I think we had $14,000. And the coach was saying 50 kids. So that 50 kids, using that formula, 50 times $70 average would have gave you that $14,000. So my thought was if you stayed through 50 through the month of June, and then you had 10% growth in July and August, which would take it to 55, 10% growth through September and October, which would be 60. In November, December, be up to 65. So 30% growth in this slow growth, which we hope to see, right?
Right.
And we charge for the month of August. That would put it at that 4650 mark, probably. You know what I'm saying? That's where we would be coming up with that.
46,500 or
46,500 what I meant, yeah.
Okay, so adding a total of
3,500.
800 to the budget, because we have 300 also from the director's trip.
And if we saw the 10% growth in August, it would actually be right at 47,000.
So if we had 3,800, hold on, Matt, you got a Marine doing math here. Look at 97.5. So it takes our total revenue up to $975,151. Right? Or at least on the first page. So we take that to how did this go from 971 on the first page to 974 on the back page? Oh, that's
While he's doing that, Eric,
No.
I think you would agree with this, Erica. The thought would be that we would let some parents know that we're not closing the pool down in August this year.
Yep.
And yeah, cool.
Yeah, we're going to actually put that out to everybody because
Thank you.
with our new military push and our new Silver Sneakers push, that'll be really important information for them as they look to maybe go to Anacortes.
Okay.
It's also something that we let Anacortes know because they do shut down every fall.
Yes, they do.
And we'll let them know that their people will be welcome over here as they're looking for a place to swim.
Okay.
Well, that takes us from a negative to a positive right there alone.
Woohoo.
So let's continue. Do we agree to look at the rest of the budget?
Yes.
So let's continue to look at this. So payroll taxes.
Is the amount for the estimated amount for payroll taxes, is that proportional? So 2014 to 2015, is that proportional to salary and wages?
Yes.
Okay, so what factor did we use there?
We used the amount of employees that we had. We took the revenue or the expenditures that we had paid on payroll taxes in 2014, looked at the amount of employees that we have currently and how much we are paying out so far in taxes, and went with that number. We also asked for a little bit of input from Ron Johnson on those and asked him whether those looked like they were pretty well set, and he said they looked pretty good to him.
It's an actual one. Yes. Oh, sure. You betcha. It's the Wendy home printer version.
Thanks very much.
So are we good with payroll taxes and payroll processing?
Why actuals to 2015 budgeted? Why the huge difference in numbers? I'm not complaining, but from 39,878 to 11,600.
Joanne, can you explain that one? We talked about this a little bit, but you had it better worded than I did.
So we're on page 3. Sorry, I just wanted to. Page 3 under payroll.
In QuickBooks, when you pull up the P&L.
Mhm.
For the account, the 39,000 includes the L&I that we pay quarterly, when it doesn't, that's the L&I taxes, but it's coded in payroll processing.
Okay.
I think previously things were lumped together in a way that they shouldn't have been.
Okay.
So the
So there's-
11,600 represents breaking that out a little better.
Okay, and
Where's the L&I then? Did I just overlook it?
No, it's in payroll taxes. What we broke out was the difference between, what we broke out was the difference between the L&I and the payroll taxes here and what we actually paid to process.
Okay. So, excuse me for asking that question here, but there's 20,000 from the 2014 actual that is not in the 2015 revised budget. And so just, as much as I like to say, yay, we're not paying 20,000 someplace, I want to know where that 20,000 went.
It's about the 28.
That's here. Well,
Yeah, 28, thanks Steve. I was given a rough,
There's the 16,500,
hey,
which is here,
brain, man, I ran out of fingers.
which is down in here,
So Department of Revenue?
Department of
Okay, well,
Revenue.
there's 16, all right.
which had been lumped in previously with this 30,
Okay,
this 39.
all right. There's 16.
And I think the rest of it has come from this guy, from the payroll processing for the budget of 2014. That actually had to go up because this is what we are actually paying and what we actually paid last year.
Okay,
And then the rest of it, we had taken it up $2,000 from that 66,305, which was not, we didn't actually spend that 73, we spent 66,305, and we put that up to 2,000 to the 68,000.
but if it contains that 22,000, I mean, are we saying that, I still feel like there's a little vapor here that I haven't quite understood. So if we pushed it up, but we only increased the number by $2,000, so when I say up to payroll taxes, we still have, there still is a delta that we haven't explained yet.
The 16,500
Yeah,
is part of that as well.
right, but the difference in the numbers is $28,000. And the difference in those payroll taxes, we just don't want to get caught by surprise. I think that's
Yep.
where we're coming from is,
That's about almost.
Do you need one of
I do.
these?
I
Here.
know what kind of what you guys are looking at, which is making it a little tricky on us.
Okay. Now
Can we move on and come back to that while she's looking at it?
Yep.
Sure.
She's looking that one up for you.
Use our time wisely.
So let's go to tax and insurance. Obviously, the Department of Revenue was just explained to us. And WGP
What
insurance.
insurance is that? And that's sound ignorant, but WGEP, what does that
It's
mean?
endurance. Endurance.
Oh,
Endurance?
Gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Okay. So are we good with taxes and insurance?
Just until we get that one.
All right, so we're going to leave payroll and tax and insurance. We'll come back to those. Then moving on to professional services. Pest control went up.
This is based on what we actually pay them.
On what we actually pay them, that's where that number comes from. Cool. And New Leaf went down. That's nice.
Based on what we actually paid them.
Okay. Accounting went down.
Well, it went up from 2014.
Right.
This may need to be adjusted. Joanne, do you know off the top of your head what we've paid Ron so far?
Over to.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're between 2,000 and 3,000, so that might be okay.
We don't want to deal with might be's today.
We don't want to be able
well,
to.
so the P&L through what I believe was the end of April was effectively 2,100.
And I think we have one more bill coming from him that we haven't paid yet, but hasn't arrived yet.
Right, and unless there's
6,000 is a pretty solid number then.
I'd say
is what we're
6,000 is a
going.
pretty
Yeah.
solid number.
All right, alarm monitoring went down. That's nice.
Yep.
500.
Based on what we actually pay them.
Fantastic. Bank and card fees.
This bank and card fees, there were some, bank and card fees had gone into some other category.
Okay.
Which, when Joanne and I pulled them out and had a look at what we actually pay in bank and card fees, this also includes memberships.
I thought we had another-
Memberships is down here, excuse
Yes.
me. Then this 9,600 is what we actually pay in bank fees, account fees, credit card fees.
Okay, so that includes all of our banking fees now, and now 9,600 is correct.
Correct.
But, so does that mean, just so that I understand, so does that include, when we say membership fees?
Those are down here.
Oh, okay, sorry, I thought you said it included, well, but there's no number there.
Yeah, there's no
So-
number there.
So that doesn't really help me anyway, but, what I think I'm trying to understand is, so we said bank fees, card fees, so, I mean, is this incidental transacting as well as our paying for, if you will, a relationship? So do we have monthly maintenance fees for card fees, as well as, does this include the incidental transactions?
For bank card, yes.
Yes, it does.
That just, wow.
That's a lot in banking card
It's
fees.
$800 a month.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
about.
that's about right.
We pay a monthly fee, and then, actually, I think we pay 2 monthly fees, and then we pay a per transaction fee plus a percentage.
You're kidding.
And that,
No, it's something that we.
Think you may have another.
Have we looked around at other things?
it
Yeah.
was, so, yeah, merchant account of some.
We
You know-
actually did have someone that we were in conversation with, I don't know.
Would it be
the
just,
status of
would it
getting
be
a quote
just
from her.
Weiss by any chance?
No, it wasn't.
Does
I
she-
know we had an email from her, but there was.
Because she wanted
another
to talk to
person.
you about this.
Okay,
I think-
something to look at for the future,
Yes, we do.
especially as we start planning next month for
Yeah.
our 2016 budget. So that's something to seriously take into account. So, new bank. All right, there we go. All right, IT contract. Well,
We waiting on that?
we're waiting.
Okay, we're gonna back up again to
Okay.
insurance. I need
Insurance.
to know that $25,000, if we have we figured in a new director into that equation? Because if it is in.
Can you back up to that when Eric
To
comes back?
insurance, yeah, you know what I'm
Okay.
saying, because I still am unsure about that. I mean, have we, because.
And so
if-
you're talking about employee
Medical
medical
insurance.
insurance
Yeah, because.
on page
because
2 of 4.
Yeah, 'cause I
Sorry,
was just
four.
sitting here thinking about that, you know, I mean, if we have not figured in a new director,
Mhm.
you're talking about $7,000 probably more money.
Right.
That's if the person doesn't have a spouse or
Children.
children, you know, and, yeah,
Okay,
and,
all right,
yeah.
well, let's wait.
And we can go on, we can come back later.
Well,
That's
we
good.
need to wait for it anyway.
Yeah.
So let's get the answers we wanted to right here with the, so we're done with bank and card fees. Did we figure out where that 20,000 went up there? Are we done with the payroll, taxing, taxes and processing?
So it looks like if you combine those all together, there's a difference of $7,477 between 2014 actuals and 2015 revised.
Mm-hmm.
I personally was not hands-on on that, so I'm not quite sure where those differences are all from. So I don't know. Erica maybe knows. Or did something get put somewhere else different?
You know, honestly, this is one that Joanne and I have been trying to figure out for a couple of months, because when you look at the 2014 QuickBooks, you end up finding a lot of things categorized and dumped into an other category. It's called
Mhm.
other. And I think that some of that is in there. And it's been something that our accountant has been trying to find as well, because of the mistakes done with QuickBooks,
With the coding.
with the coding.
But shouldn't we, sorry, again, perhaps I'm missing something here, but as it relates to payroll taxes and DOR, we should have some sort of non-QuickBooks validation, whether it's a receipt, like we should have something that we should be able to get the actuals from, correct? Whether we're submitting it, if we're submitting,
For the
because this
DOR,
is.
yes.
For the
so-
DOR, yes.
Okay, I mean, that one seems to be, definitely we should have, if we're doing, because this is really quarterly sales tax, right? Okay. So that one, and so I'm hoping that's where that number came from. payroll taxes, it seems like we should be able, I'm making a huge assumption here because I've not done this personally, but
Yes,
it seems like we should have
some
some
payroll
okay.
processing. Sorry, with the payroll processing, when I do the journal entries each pay period, the way it's done, everything. If you pull up anything under payroll processing, it will include L&I taxes. So if you look on one of the columns there, it'll say 10,000 we paid for L&I for 1 quarter, but it's under payroll processing, which you think is paychecks, time clock, them delivering the checks and time punches and all that. And it really shouldn't be 60-something thousand.
7,477 to be
Is the
exact.
difference.
And I think what I'm suggesting is that do we or don't we have some sort of external validation, whether it's an invoice or something from the
Something
state,
from the
or for what we paid in payroll taxes. Like it seems like we should have something
Yes,
outside
we
of, even if QuickBooks is a mess, there's a number.
We do.
Okay.
We get the first, second, third quarter, fourth quarter L&I from paychecks, and then we transfer the money over to our payroll account, and then it gets deducted from that.
All right, so looking at the first, second, third, fourth quarter from L&I and developing the budget,
It was fairly close to what they had put down as the original, 67,757.
okay?
So we had bumped it up to 68,000 to reflect some percentage increases, which we'd gotten wind of,
Okay?
and we figured that would probably cover. I'm sorry, I'm dealing with a migraine.
It's okay. So I guess my concern still is if I look at the 106, 183, and the 7960, and then include the tax and insurance on both of those, I still come up with a deficit of 7477. And we got to account for that. We need to figure out, if we put that in as a negative, then we put it in as a negative and we move on. And we find that money somewhere else. But that needs to reflect somewhere because we paid it last year. I just don't think it's going to go away this year.
These guys work on it, maybe we come back to it.
Yeah, I think what we'll need to do is do some hard copy review because we do get printed copies of stuff from
Okay.
paychecks that we may need to number crunch there to validate numbers.
Okay. Can we, is that possible?
Mhm.
All right, because we need to do that before we say, give that
Absolutely.
rubber stamp that, yeah, this is
Yeah,
it, because
absolutely.
7477 is not something we want
It's a
to.
big number.
Okay,
So, sorry, can
No,
I just
go right
can I
ahead.
just clarify two things? So one is I'm not sure what sort of crunching of numbers, I know you guys clearly have something in your head, but I think at the end of the day, we're looking for something that basically we understand the differential between last year and this year, and that if they're not close, we understand why, right? Okay. And then can we amend our, if you think you would have enough time, would we want to amend?
we can approve this budget without,
I'm getting ahead of myself.
yes, what we can do, because
Okay.
I know what the question's going to be.
Okay.
And I know it's going to bother you if we don't answer it right now.
Well,
Is we can approve the budget the way it stands without that 7477, and then we can amend it at our next meeting to say we found where that 7477 is.
Perfect.
We know exactly where it's at, and then we can amend the
Thank
budget.
you for explaining that, Sean.
So you're welcome, sir. Did I answer your question?
You know you
All
did.
right, just
Wait,
making
the
sure.
next
Thank you,
regular
Mr.
meeting,
Chair.
right? You're
Yeah.
not gonna call like a new special meeting tomorrow.
We don't know. No. At the next regular scheduled meeting. Yes, please. Yes, please. All right. So bank card fees we were finished with. IT contract went up considerably.
Yes, it did, and that's exactly what it's.
And why?
Yeah.
Our IT contract has gone up as high as it has because we have had to deal with multiple failures of system failures, multiple internet failures, due to the fact that we are using a internet provider which is not providing our services the way that they need to be.
Okay.
I am working on trying to get us a different internet provider that will actually be a little bit more stable for us, will cost us less, and will cause us to rely less and less on our IT people.
Okay, so for the simple non-IT guy over here, why would my provider impact my IT support?
Our IT provider, because this involves a lot of wires and hardware and other such things, which they would prefer that our employees not have a whole bunch of hands in, they have asked that they deal with the wiring portion of what needed to happen. We also needed to purchase a large hard drive that would back up the district's network and the computer, because at that point it was not working, and we had one that was outdated and was overheating, and it was not able to back up all of the district's work from the network. So we had to purchase a couple of hard drives as well.
So the hard drives went into the IT contract
Yep,
also?
all went into all of it.
So it's not just our...
So they're not down in technology where they probably should be.
We had asked him to purchase some of those for us. A, he knew what he was looking for, and B, he was able to get a discount that we wouldn't have been able to.
But
Right.
if we're looking at, I understand that, but if we're looking at trying to make things look like what they really are, and you guys are spending a lot of effort doing that, and we know that, then I think we probably need to, we should be coding it as hardware in our own expenses, regardless of who we're paying it to.
We should.
Okay.
So is there any way we can break that out?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Break out.
And just move it to computer hardware.
Okay.
American Red Cross, there's no dues, memberships, or tuitions that we owe this
We actually
year?
have those down where it says technology, where it's Team Unify, eSoft, Tracers, and
Okay.
Phone Internet, so it's down there.
All right. So maybe get rid of that line.
Mm-hmm.
American Red Cross went down significantly from the original budget.
Mm-hmm. The reason that American Red Cross went down significantly from the original budget is because we are not paying, it's kind of hard to explain. We are not paying the higher price that the Red Cross would ask us to pay for providing programs because of a special deal that we have with them to provide the programs at a lower cost due to the fact that we offer their lifeguarding programs here, which means that they lower the price to process our swim lesson program.
Okay, so it's a tit for tat type.
Well, it's not only that, it's a significant savings.
Okay.
And it was something that our regional director and I sat down and negotiated last year.
Okay.
End of last year.
Okay. HVAC PMS. No preventative maintenance scheduled for our HVAC?
That actually has been moved. Where did that go? To the repair and maintenance, down on maintenance expense. That was lumped in there as well.
Which went down significantly. Okay.
Can't afford for it to do that much, fortunately.
All right. Legal is at 5,000. Is that what we expect to pay Nathan for the rest of the year, or based on what we paid so far?
That's based on what we've paid so far.
So there's no buffer in there between now and October.
That's not what we've paid so far. That's based on if we would pay the same amount for the next few months that we have so far.
That we have so far.
Yep.
So you basically took what we paid so far and divided it by 5?
And I added a little bit because I figured we would have a contract negotiation to do if we hire a new director. We would need to bring him in on.
What do you mean divided by?
Well, I don't know what I was thinking. 5 months and then multiply that. Yeah, you know what I meant.
I got you,
Listen.
I didn't. I didn't.
Listen.
All right, porta potty. We talked about that. It's cheaper to keep them than it is to get rid of them for a couple months during the winter. So
Maybe.
that's Now they're changing the porta potties. This is starting to stink. So what's the change of story with the porta potty?
The porta potty that we were getting the 2-for-1 deal for, we found out that the other half of the 2-for-1 deal was being passed on to Fetch.
Oh. So it really wasn't a 2-for-1.
Well, it was a 2-for-1 for us, but Fetch was getting the other one. So we didn't know it and they didn't know it. So it was kind of an interesting situation. We have let Fetch know that they could, if they were going to stop paying for the one, that they can go ahead and do that and let us know when they do. And we
Yes.
can reevaluate as to whether we want to put another one out there or not.
Okay, so that's based on the one porta potty.
That is based on one porta potty.
Okay.
Correct.
But is that something, sorry, again, looking at the smaller stuff, I mean,
It adds up.
if our expense is 370 through the end of April, I believe, then could we take that number times 3? Which is, I mean, it's only $100 difference, but it's $100.
With that, that's a yearly rate.
Okay, so then how, so then how are we at 368.76 by the end of April?
Where are you at? On porta potty?
I'm on the P&L. I'm looking at the P&L and our actuals through the end of April. So if it's 368.76, if we're paying annually, then why have we paid them anything? Or if we're paying them in installments, then it seems like it should be 368.76 times 3.
It should be 1,200. No, it should be 1,500.
Okay. We can, do I presume Julie, sorry, oh, okay, there we go. I didn't know if she was going to look at that. I'm just.
She's looking. Well, and 368. So we actually could take the porta potty down to 1,100.
There's 200.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep, we can take that porta potty down to 1,100. Because once I do the math on that, it's with that other one
So
going
we'll change the
away
porta potty to 1,100.
to 1,100. Yep.
All right, advertising, we're up to 2,000 there.
And I also put in here I also added into here the amount of money that we had to shell out for Whitby News Times to publish our kayak,
Oh, okay.
our kayaking advertisements.
And does that project also maybe having to do it again?
It projects having to do it again, and
Okay.
it also projects the advertisements having to be put out for the director position.
Okay, perfect.
Then why are we only at why are actuals only $44.39? I mean, or is it more than just that number? I'm trying to reconcile stuff here.
One of them went on to the credit card. One of the payments went onto the credit card, so it would not have been coded into this one yet. And we have not received one of the bills yet. That's why on your April P&L you won't see it all.
Breathing easier, cleared up.
It's amazing how that works.
Just saying. You good with advertising there, Wendy?
Sure.
No?
Sure.
No, now's the time.
I understand that.
Island County Health, 700. What are they charging us for this time?
Inspections.
So now we get charged for inspections?
Yeah, the inspections, our permit, like our pool operator permit,
Uh-huh.
what else do they charge us for?
For Island County?
And she comes out how many times now?
Well, we just got our.
When she shows
pool.
up.
Well, I
I mean, it's
understand that. But if she's going to charge us for it, I'd like to know what her schedule is.
We just paid our pool and spa permit.
Okay.
It's valid from June 1st till
June 1st of next year.
Until June 1st.
And it was how much?
700 something.
So we
it's-
need to adjust this.
So we need to adjust Island County Health for more than 700. How much do we pay for when she comes out to test the water?
I don't think we pay for that one anymore.
We haven't in the
don't get a-
past. That's why I was curious
Yeah.
to hear that.
So let's
So,
And she just came out today.
yeah, she
She
comes
did come
out
out today.
She comes out.
You tell me the
Inspections.
health department just shows up?
Yes, they do.
Wow.
They just show up, they check our water.
She's done that quite often, almost
And they-
I
by.
mean, they show up and say, oh, by the way, you owe us money?
No, they
No,
show up and
that's-
just check our water.
That's why I'm thinking.
This is, no, this is for our permits.
So our permit should be 800 or 740.
So we could just showed up and took our money.
I think it was 740 something.
So we do 750.
So if we put 750 in there,
We're
that'll
covered.
change that. Okay.
So where does that reside on the P&L?
Or do we know where it resides on the P&L?
Other. There's a health department. It's
Is that, yeah, probably.
I think it's under professional services.
Because there's a health and safety ARC.
American Red Cross.
Okay, that's.
Wow.
If we could find a place though where we can call it out so we know what it is in the future, that would be really helpful. So,
They're
All right,
working on
let's
it.
not get caught up on it. All right, Intergovernment Services Employee Advisory is 250.
What is that?
Is that our employee assistance program?
Yes, that's what that
That's
is.
a part of our insurance. It's the
Okay.
employee assistance program.
Okay, on this next one, I just want to point out, you know, mostly if somebody were listening to this audio, that they understand that this $15,000, that's for 5 people running for.
Negative. It is not. You are
It
incorrect.
is not.
No, it is not. This budget is good until October of this year, sir. We will not be billed. We will not be billed for the 5 people running until next year. So that is something
Well,
to keep
thank
in
you very
mind.
much.
You're welcome. That's what I'm here
So
for.
where's the $15,000?
That is for all the elections we did last year up till this point, sir. Yes,
Okay.
all 5 seats, which we have no clue, and I did call down to the county, and they have no clue how much it's going to be
Okay.
because they base that
Wow.
on the number of
Candidates.
things. No, they include ballots and levies and everything else. So the number of issues to include candidates on each ballot are used to determine the cost for each district.
Okay.
So next year in our 2016, and it's a good point to bring up now though,
Yes.
because as we go forward to plan for 2016, we will have to pay for 5 seats.
So how many is this for?
That's only for 3.
So $5,000 per person.
That's what it was, but you remember, you can't use that because it was an off-year election and there weren't a whole lot on that ballot.
Okay, all right.
So, it's a very good question and a very valid point as we move forward planning for next
We're
year.
hoping it goes down.
Yes, it very well could go
It
down.
could go down.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Refunds. We always like refunds. We're down to 3,000 though. But refunds are based on last year's and what we've got so far this year.
We had a massive pool closure last year, which
Aha.
resulted in massive refunds to our swim lesson program. So we were able to lower our refunds this year.
Based on the fact that we're not going to close the pool between now and October.
Now in October, and also we know that if our current pump has a moment, that we have a backup.
All right.
So this is really refunds to patrons.
Patrons.
This is refunds to
It's an
patrons.
expense,
Again,
it's not
yeah,
a,
well, right, that's,
yes.
yeah, if we could just be a little, yeah, that'd be awesome, because then we won't ask this question every single time.
And
I
last year's refunds, I think, were largely for birthday party rentals. Swim school, we were actually able to give them credits to use for the future, so they would come back to
Okay.
us when we reopened.
Right. Reserve, maintenance funds, I will tell you that when I reviewed the proposed budget, I was very, very happy to see that in there.
It needs to be in there.
So we're gonna put 11,000 to the reserve fund, correct?
11,000, which we can put it all toward the reserve fund, or we can do an improvement fund, reserve fund combo. We can put them separately. I don't know how you guys wanted to do it, but I believe that it would behoove us to put ourselves on a payback plan.
Well, right now we have
So.
only one fund, and that's the reserve fund.
Yep, so that can go in there.
So we can put 11,000 in the reserve fund.
We would like to, definitely. Yes.
So there's a number that's good to know about. All right, questions or comments on the reserve fund? Moving on, computer maintenance. We came up a little to 7,200, and that's going to come up some more once we start moving the, what was that up there? IT contract around. Computer hardware, I imagine that'll reflect that also. Okay, cell phone AT&T.
This is what we pay for our emergency maintenance cell phone.
Okay. Phone and internet went up a good deal this year. And our copy machine, okay. Team Unify, eSoft, and Tracers. This is all computer programs that we use and pay for.
That's correct.
That wasn't in there before. So the total there for our technology has gone up to 1,630. Any questions? And that could be moved around some more in relation to the IT contract.
Yep, we may be able to lower that IT contract number.
Okay. Questions or comments so far on the technology?
Honestly, I'm still trying to reconcile it to the P&L.
Okay, then I'm going to take a break while you do that.
You betcha.
All right. So I'm going to call a 5-minute recess while we do this. And we're going to recess at 5:03.
Okay, sorry.
Let me call the meeting back into order just for decorum. Let's call the meeting back in order at 5:09 p.m.
Okay, I don't know if this helps you in any way.
Okay, so just to restate though, my question was in relation to technology that I don't see the items. So this is a bottom of page 3. Some of them I can see a tie back to the P&L, and some of them I can't. And I'm just trying to.
This may be where some of your confusion is.
Sure.
This P&L is based on last year's budget, last year's coding. My intent is that once you guys approve something on paper, so I know how to accurately put it into this format, I will do that.
Okay.
And then those numbers might tie together. I would hope they would tie together for you.
But
So that might be part of your difficulty in the
Sure.
here and now.
And I see that there are some places where we've already done that, and I appreciate that. In this case, for example, because for me it's less about sticking with the old, truly. And if our intention is to put all these things in technology as we see them in this budget, I think that's wonderful. If that's what we're going to do in the future, I think it's great, because it saves from.
Well, and I'm just trying to use my time efficiently and not go in and make 27 revisions to this while it's all being sorted out. I'd rather let you guys sort it out, go make one revision,
Understood.
and be able to move forward.
Then I think we're good.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
We're good. I'm going to go back to the reserve and then maintenance fund. Did you want to revisit that or no?
Well, I think I was just trying to understand. So I had just said that I had a little reminder at the bottom for me that the money we took out of reserves, we said we needed a plan to pay it back, and I wasn't sure if that existed. I was trying to be patient and see if that existed somewhere else in here, but I don't see any numbers that look large enough for that. So if we need to revisit this, then
I don't believe that we can afford to pay the whole thing back this year, which is why I have the 11,000 down here. I believe that we would need to give ourselves a plan to pay it back by the middle of next year.
okay, but and the total amount, and I apologize, the total amount that we transferred was 26,000. Okay, but if we call, so my concern is this. that 5,000 to an improvement fund, I personally would not call part of that 26,000. I think that we have to be forward-minded in terms of looking at making improvements, but I think we have to be very specific about where we're paying ourselves back from money that we already took, if you will. That sounded a little dirtier, if you will, than I meant it to, meaning like, but it's, we remove this money and we promise to pay it back. And so I think what we need to be able to see is, I think then we have to be more aggressive, because one, our reserve is not a huge amount of money.
No.
And I think we have to take that into account. And I think we can't then, I think we can't say, let's do 6,000 now and expect to do 20,000 next year. I think we have, I personally believe that we should be more aggressive. And I don't know how anybody, how the other guys feel.
My thought was to do $1,000 a month for the rest of this year, and then move up to $1,000 to $2,000 or $1,500 to $2,000 next year a month.
And I guess I'm not sure what makes us feel like that's a good, safe assumption. So, personally, I would prefer to be more aggressive this year.
Sure.
So in 5 months, you want to take that from 6,000 up to?
Do you want to just put that whole 11,000 as a reserve fund then, instead of improvement fund?
No.
No.
So we're going to come back to the reserve fund as we go through the rest of the budget.
Sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I think we have to be as realistic as we can, but I think we have to. I mean, it's like we're looking at paying credit card debt, for example.
That's right.
Okay, we don't have mounting 18.9% fees, but I don't feel confident saying, well, we should be able to pay it back more aggressively next year rather than this year. I don't know what the difference is.
And I don't know. It's something to definitely think about and discuss.
Absolutely. I think that's, yeah, absolutely.
All right.
I do know that Donna Sue has some, at least thoughts, strong feelings, I should put it that way, about this as well, and I would really like to give her the opportunity to weigh in if she has some ideas, which I don't know the answer to that.
And she'll be back.
Well, no, I'm just suggesting that if we, you know,
make the changes here and then send them out so she can chime back before our next scheduled meeting.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
If she has an opinion that she'd like to share.
Joanne, do you know what we pay every month to the IT guys, Network Solutions, for just their regular monthly fee?
402.
403.
Where's it?
I think I see what happens with the IT.
Yes?
I hate to ask you to go back to the insurance, but now's the perfect time to go back. And here's the reason why. Because if we're looking at trying to put money into the reserve fund, so we're trying to find money to put into that, you've got to, I mean...
Okay, so the question about the insurance is...
this big chunk of money that could be out there. I want to know if that roughly $25,000 we have in the budget right now, does that include if we hire a director, if that director has a spouse? First of all, does it include the possibly new director's 90% and the spouse, if they have one, of 50%? Because you could be talking about over $10,000
in 5 months.
Well, so roughly $5,000.
Right.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that.
But it's still $5,000.
And then actually, let's back up. We only would be looking at 4 months, because if the person we have looked at, they have asked for it to be September through
October.
September, October, November. 4 months.
September, October.
Is this just a fiscal year? This is not a fiscal. This is a calendar year.
Yeah.
That's 4 months.
Yep.
And then even if we didn't elect to hire this person, we're gonna...
It's going to take at least that long.
A while. So we would be looking at, I guess, taking that
4 months.
10,000, so basically we'd be looking at, what, 33% of that.
Yep.
Yeah, so, I mean, and I hate to go back to that, but that's a big chunk of money.
We do. If we call them
Insurance is so important because, I mean, let's face it, we make decisions based on
And it's
medical
not,
expenses.
and it's not variable or
Yeah,
optional.
it's
I mean,
not.
in that
Yes,
respect.
All right.
So do you know, is that $25,000 figuring just what we paid with these employees? We can come back.
Yeah, they're working on it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Well, let's wait.
Okay.
Okay, so for 3 full-time employees, 100% of their premium for the year is $16,617. So that leaves an extra about $10,000 there to cover spouses, children.
But it's not 100%, guys. It's 90 and 50.
But this number here, we believe, is the total premium we pay, including what we've deducted from their paychecks. Because we deduct from their paychecks and then we forward that plus our portion to the insurance company. So the bill that we actually pay to the insurance company is 100% of the premium, but we have kept some of the employee money that we're sending along with it.
We make that separation. The
That's
insurance
the clearest
company
anybody
does.
has explained it. Thank
Yes,
you.
thank
you very
That's-
much for that.
So yeah, that's giving you about $10,000 to play with for additional employee or spouse
All right.
coverage.
Okay, then I'm.
So I think it's close. We could
Thank
probably
you
fine
very
tune
much.
the number a little
Thank
more,
you.
but
I feel good now.
does that make
Okay.
you feel better?
I feel very good. Thank
No,
you.
it's a significant finding. Yeah, there you go. And I think we all feel a little bit more like we understand how
Thank you both.
we
It's
pay.
kind of like when, you know, your federal income tax is withheld from your paycheck. Well, we retain that somewhere as part of our payroll taxes, but
That's the
it's
best it's been
that same
explained.
type
Yes.
of scenario.
You
Yes,
explained it very well. Thank you.
thank you.
Awesome.
All right.
Can we go back real quick to something?
Nope.
No? Okay, fine.
What are we going back to?
IT contract.
IT contract.
So we need to adjust the 5,700 to 5,836
Okay.
and down to computer maintenance under technology.
Uh-huh.
That one needs to be, oh, I got it, 3,000.
So computer maintenance goes to 3,000
Yep.
and
The hardware needs to stay the same.
the IT contract goes to 5,836.
5,836, correct, because we pay 403 a month. It's 402.83 or something like that, but it's basically 403 a month is our basic everyday every month thing for
It's
them.
a fixed
Fee
cost.
for them. It's a fixed cost. Thank you.
And the maintenance is variable.
The maintenance can be variable, and just looking at what we've paid out and what we anticipate to pay out is around $200 to $250 a month.
And these are, so just so that I understand, so this between IT contract up in professional services and computer maintenance under technology, that is the same service provider, however.
It's the same service provider, that is
just so we
correct.
understand. Okay.
Okay.
That is correct.
And then server thingamabob doomahickey that we
It
bought.
was 480 something.
Okay, and that's in computer hardware already with
That
the
is
500.
That's correct.
So we only have 17 or 11 bucks something left to spend on computer hardware for the rest of the year.
Yeah, we should put that up a little bit.
So should we change computer hardware from 500 then to maybe 700? I'm thinking,
I would say
I feel 800?
Yeah, I
I
would
feel
say
better
8.
going high than going low on that.
I would say 8.
All right, so we'll change computer hardware up to 800. All right. Thank you. That's why we're doing this. Excellent. All right, aerobics. 300 for aerobics from the original to the revised budget. Cleaning supplies went down significantly. Are we dirty? Or are we cleaner than we thought we were?
Some of the cleaning supplies have been lumped in with pool chemicals. So we took out exactly what was cleaning supplies.
Okay, so we no longer have mixed our pool chemicals with our cleaning supplies.
Correct. We are actually putting it out so we can see exactly what we pay on cleaning supplies alone, total.
I'm sure OSHA's happy to hear that also.
Yeah.
Why did our aerobics budget go up 50%?
She does need to purchase some new dumbbells. The ones that we have for our ladies are wearing out, and we have a couple of belts that we need to replace also.
You know, mention the other day about them maybe wanting to raise money and donate their own stuff?
No, that was for our computer program to run our heating exchanger.
Oh, that's right. Never mind. I stand corrected. Thank you. First aid supplies. We've broken down only $500 for first aid supplies. That's fairly good. That's a lot of Band-Aids, but I realize
use a lot of them.
On the cost that's pretty low.
Yeah, we actually don't use that. We have a supplier that keeps our costs really low.
Okay.
And our quantity really high.
Okay. Event supply and food.
This is for events such as our Goldfish Swim, our Santa Swim, Daddy-Daughter Dance, that sort of stuff.
And we only spend $1,000.
We're gonna have to make it work.
Okay.
Someone's a thrifty shopper.
Yep, that one's a thrifty shopper there.
Ah.
We also get a lot of donations for these too, so
Awesome.
we keep our costs down.
Office supplies is $3,000. Does that include toner for the printer thingy, or is that already in the? She laughed at me because I knew I hit the nail on the head. What do you know? No, that doesn't include toner. Because toner's expensive.
Oh, toners are very.
Yeah, and I know we've got printer / scanner / that's not included in our copy machine price, wherever.
No, that's a completely different machine.
So, do we have toner added into that office supply or no?
I did, but I think we probably could. When I bought toner for the one up there, I realized maybe we should put this up again.
So, what are we going to put it up to? To be realistic, because this is where we take it in the shorts, and I don't want to do that.
I'm 36. Because I know I spent $99 on the toner for that one. And I had included toner in here. But I think we should, after I realized that was $99 instead of $58 like I thought it was. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
So we're going to bump that up by 36?
I know that we changed the toner in there about every 3 to 4 months.
So that's 3 times a year, right? Or 4 times a year.
4 times
at
a year.
$400 each time.
For one
Or
machine.
for one machine.
And I had added some toner in here already.
And so, do we have another machine that has toner also?
Oh, we have 4.
We have 4 machines.
Okay, so we have 4 times 4, that's 1,600 on toner right there. So you're telling me
Why do we have
that,
4 copy machines?
We don't have 4 copies, we have 4 printers.
Well, we have 3 printers
Okay, what do
and a big
we
copy
have
machine.
4 printers?
why do we have 3 printers?
We have one in the fishbowl that Coach uses, Erica uses it for.
Michelle uses.
Swim lessons, yeah, up
Uh-huh.
there. There's one at the front desk for
Receipts.
Receipts.
and whatnot. There's a color one back here, and then there's our big copier.
Okay, and let me ask you this, are we printing only in black and white?
99% of the time.
Awesome. All right, still, so you're telling me we got 1,600, and I hate to be a stickler on this, but 1,600 for toner and only 2,000 for the rest of our copies, our office.
Yeah, but are they all being changed that many times?
No.
I mean, Coach should be going through
That,
as many as you
Coach
guys
and
do.
I use this one a lot.
Really?
Yep. I mean, when we need to make copies, we'll come back and use the copy machine. But we are printing out swim lesson information, swim team information, aerobic schedules, lifeguard schedules, posts that we need to put up if they come through from the health department, anything like that. We print out. We use that one several times a day, and it's also the backup printer for the front desk. If their printer has a problem, they print up there as well.
Can we be more,
We could be
reduce
more-
waste?
we could be
Because
more
I
frugal by
honestly,
sending it to
I'm
the
really
big
wondering
copier.
why the swim coach would really need to print out that much, considering he has everyone's email and everything should be going out electronically to the swim parents. Why would we print out anything?
I think he prints workouts out.
Well,
But that's one or 2 sheets a day.
yeah.
Yeah, he uses it about half of what I do.
That is a good point.
What's that?
We do need to upgrade our credit card receipt machine because it presently, Rick, our IT guy said it's from the Stone Ages.
Uh-huh.
It does not function properly. It will not stop feeding. It will not print correctly. So we're having to print many of our receipts at the front on a full sheet of paper for a little square of information.
Oh, that's a double cost because we're paying for toner and for paper.
Mhm.
So how much would it cost us to replace the credit card swipe thing.
He was supposed to be getting me a quote. There's also a requirement from the credit card
Just showed my
company to
age,
upgrade
didn't I?
those by September because of like the new chips in the cards.
Right.
If our reader and our receipt machine, if that doesn't all function together for that, then we pay some sort of surcharge and we get, I think we don't get any protection from like credit card identity theft stuff from the credit card companies if we don't upgrade that. So,
But if we're also
which is a little off topic, but
well, but if we're also
No.
looking at perhaps changing the merchant account
we
to
might be
someone
able to get
else,
new equipment from them.
right? I mean, maybe that's all. If we look at that as you know, we talked about them as two separate things. If we looked at it all together, we may end up
Absolutely.
able to save some money.
That had been my thought process a while back. when we
Yeah.
were
No, that would be
on
wonderful.
it. But I do think we could be more efficient if they would make a habit out of sending their stuff they're printing to the copy machine, because it's much more efficient on its toner usage than our printers are up there.
Of course.
If we removed one of the printers in the fishbowl, that would really make that have to happen, wouldn't it?
It would.
Well, yeah,
It would.
you know, here we go back to the fireman mentality. If I need water to put out the fire, I gotta get water. So if I need to save money on toner and cartridges, I need to unhook the printer.
You send them all to the most efficient one.
Yeah, let's just, do we have to have that up there?
The other thing would be at some point, and this isn't a here now discussion, but like my printer at the front, it's a fairly cheap printer, but when you go to buy cartridges for toner, it's very expensive. Where if at some point, you know, when it dies, if we were to invest in a higher quality printer, then our toner costs
So that
would
could,
reduce.
can you do me a favor and bring that up when we talk about next year's budget?
Absolutely.
Thank you. So,
And the terminology for that would be cost of ownership. I mean, so it's
Yes.
really, we're not just looking at what the incidental expenses for replacing equipment, but we're looking at the overall life of what's it gonna cost us for a year.
Yep.
So that's great, thank you.
so looking at 3,600 for office supplies, because that's what this all gets back to. Is 3,600 gonna do it? Because that leaves you 2,000 for office supplies and 1,600 for toner for the rest of this year.
Yes. I think so.
I
Okay,
think it needs to. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll make it work.
I was gonna say.
I think we have to. We've now raised it 20%, and we know that there are some other places that, I mean, we're still on the wrong side of the numbers, so
Right.
it has to.
I think
All
it
right.
works out just fine.
Yes.
We have some invoices for toner from last year that were ordered. I don't know who ordered them, but
Okay.
I do.
Yes, employee.
toner is back there. I have tried to get a return in
The trailer.
In the trailer.
Okay.
I have tried to get a return
To send
so
her.
we can send it back, but they won't take it anymore because it's past 30 days. And now we have bills. that
Okay.
we survived.
Can you put that as an agenda item, please, for next month, next week's regular scheduled meeting?
If you, I mean, I know there's a lot more to it than that too, and because we've discussed this before, if we could just get a little summary about what purchase orders we have and don't have, what invoices we have and don't have, it would just be helpful in kind of reconciling what our true, other than receiving the equipment, what our true responsibility is and should be. Is that, I know you know what I
have
mean.
contacted the company and I
Okay.
have asked them if they could email me the tracking numbers and like purchase orders or a packing slip to match that tracking number so I can go back in the trailer and match it all up. But all they do is call. And I've asked them to email me what I need from them if they would like to get paid.
Yeah, and if we could just have a good, here's the history of this event, and here's what we know, and here's what we don't know. That would just be.
Okay.
I know that's work for you, but I think it'll help in us discussing it if you can do that.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right. Pool chemicals, questions, comments there? Good. Pool supplies. Looks like we initially combined the pool supplies and the pool chemicals. Or we didn't, broke them out separately. and they're combining this one. Is that the case? We have no supplies for
they
pools?
forgot the air gas altogether in the 2015.
Okay, so the air gas, but I'm looking at pool supplies. Does anybody know why we had $1,143 for pool supplies?
No,
All right.
we didn't have it over here.
I think they're together, but, do we, sorry, so if our year-to-date through end of April
Yeah.
was 5255, is there something missing from that?
For pool chemicals.
Right. So again, our year-to-date was 5255, and we're at 23.5.
What you guys have is the pool chemicals together with the air gas. If you see skip down to, it says air gas pool chem. Those were combined together into one large number, which the 2015 crew did not take into consideration at all when they put those together.
Okay, but if we're looking at the P&L actual to date, what Wendy's saying is that we've paid 55
Yeah, so I
for
mean,
year to date, and we're budgeted for 23.5. Yeah, now my bad math even knows that there's a, halfway through the year, we're going to be off there by about 1,300 or 13,000.
So, yeah.
So when you add these two together,
Okay, no, stop.
It's the wrong direction.
It's the wrong direction.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
We're tracking the spend about 11,000 for
Okay,
pool chemicals.
instead of
Actually, it would be 16.
16. Thank you.
16,000.
16.
Unless there's something missing that we're unaware of, or
Right.
hey, there's a bulk sale in chemicals in the, for Labor Day, or, something we don't know about. But I think that's what I'm trying to say is, can we extrapolate from that number, or is there a reason why we can't?
And does it go up during the summer? Does it go down?
Yes, it goes up during the summer.
Okay, so
Substantially.
So we can say we're on track to spend what we normally spend, and last year we spent
22,253.
on pool chemicals.
Correct.
So we're basing the 23 on last year's 22,253.
Yes.
And where's the 15 in last year's budget?
Chemicals. No, I guess we can take it out. I mean, let me see. 2253, 23.5. Gonna go up quite a bit.
I think what they did there is
This is when we were pulling our air gas receipts, and I think the difference was the air gas receipts, which are the pool chemicals, combined with what we actually pay for the tablets that chlorinate the water. We actually had our UV system go down, so we don't take that into consideration anymore, which means that our chlorine use will go up.
It's
no,
it's
an open public meeting. You're welcome to come in.
Yeah, you can. Oh, you're good. You can listen in.
Which means our chlorine usage is going to go up with our UV system being down.
Okay, so 23.5 is safe.
Yeah, I'd say 23.5. I might even
And
go.
do we need to have the 15,000 in there also?
I think that we could take the 15,000 out, but I would.
Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am.
Hey, we have public
In the middle of a public meeting, you can talk, but talk in soft tones.
I would think that when this 23.5 was put in, it was before our UV system
Went down.
malfunctioned. Yep. So I would say that we could take the 15,000 out, but I would request that we add approximately $2,000 to the pool chemicals to substitute for that.
So move the pool chemical supplies up to 25.
Correct.
Or 25.5. And then the air gas is actually a double entry.
Yep.
Are we sure?
Looking at the P&L, yes. Looks like it.
But in that event that we've added pool chemicals and pool supplies together, at least from the 2015 budget perspective, we still need to account for that pool supplies actual of $3,000. So we're looking at a total expense for 2014 of $25,276.
The pool supplies do not actually have to do with chemicals. These are supplies that they use for our mechanics that we use in the pool, our vacuum, our brushes.
So then but we spent $3,000 on that last year. Where is that expense on here? Or, I mean, we have to expect something. So where is that on here?
Under the small tools and equipment, I think is where we're planning to go with it, and under the repair and maintenance. But I think that
those both went down. We need to add
those both
it
went down. Oh, stupid coding again. What I would suggest that we do is to just take the pool supplies out, because I know a lot of these are our maintenance supplies and our tools, our brushes, our vacuums, etc. like that, and move that down to our small tools and equipment.
Excuse me, you guys. Please. Hey, you guys.
Ladies.
Please.
Thanks. Thank you. I'm sorry. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
I'm sorry.
So let's move the
Pool supplies.
So we're gonna.
you know what I'd like to, I kind of, let's put pool supplies where pool supplies are.
Okay.
And keep it at 1,200 up here, because we already, and I know Matt's taken extraordinary efforts to take our maintenance and everything down.
Yes, he is.
But let's reflect 1,200 up here for pool supplies, please.
Okay.
1,200.
Yes.
Let's either that or 1,150.
Yeah. No, that's.
Let's do,
As long as I don't know where 3,000 came from last year, if that was an anomaly or if that was something normal. If this is a MAT expense,
then Matt needs to answer for it.
please.
This is an anomaly due to the fact that we had shut down and we had to purchase many more pool supplies than normal to account for the 5 weeks that we were shut down, trying to maintain our facility and to clean things up as we were shut down.
And what I would just like to see is that if this is a MAT thing, I would just like Matt to say, I can live with this number.
Yes.
This is a
So
good number.
review this with Matt before our next meeting.
I would appreciate that, so that he doesn't feel like he will not have the resources he needs to do his job.
Gotcha.
Concession, we kept it 6,000, even though we spent 7,300 last year, and this is we know we have to cut it down.
Honestly, concessions are one of those things that we sell them consistently, and I was just looking back in expenses. Right now, if you did your multiply times 3 through April for your number for the year, that's exactly 10.5. I know we're going to sell more over the summer than we do the other seasons, so I think both of those numbers probably need to increase.
So,
I mean, I have to be able to purchase concessions to sell it and make money.
Gotcha.
And
so we're buying it at Simple Minded 6,000, and then we're selling it and making 10,500. So there's a $4,500 profit.
And I do plan to adjust some prices on some of the candy items that have been, the same price since I.
So is 6,000 for concessions expenses realistic?
I think realistic, it probably needs to be about 8.
It was previously 7.
Right. So let's bump that to 8. And then you said your revenue should change also.
Our revenue should change also. I would say it will probably go 12.5.
So
I will concur with that. We're selling all
yeah,
that.
because
Let's go for 13.
Well, because over the summer we're going to have 7-day-a-week open swims, and we're going to have afternoon open swims, plus the kids that come in from the skate park and purchase items, and that's where a lot of that revenue comes from. Are those
if
3
6 gives you 10,
8 will give you 12.
then
Yeah,
There's that who's your wisdom right there.
I think
That's that who's your
It'll
wisdom.
give you more than 12.
Stop.
Let's be conservative.
Hey.
yes, it's going to
Just
give you
a
more.
little conservative, so that you give me kudos later.
But it's
More wing dip.
All right, so retail is 2,400. Retail, what's retail?
What do we put the concessions for then?
8. 8 and 1250 on the front page.
12,500.
Yes, sir.
So retail is goggles, swim caps,
Gotcha.
earplugs, nose plugs,
Gotcha.
anything like that. Swim shavers.
And that's going to stay about 2,400?
Probably.
Jill. Yes?
Yes.
Or no?
I believe so at this point.
Yes.
Yes.
All right,
I
and
mean, the thing with that is that, if we have a whole slew of people that are coming and wanting to buy goggles and I'm running out of goggles, there may come a point where I've ordered $2,400 worth of goggles and I need another $800 worth of goggles to meet our customer demand. It's somewhat hard to predict.
As long as it's relative to scale. So, in case like this, as long as we can say, just as Steve was pointing out, that if our expense increases, that we expect our revenue to increase at least to the point of breaking even.
Yes, exactly.
Right, I mean, by replenishing inventory. I guess the one question I have about this is, are we sure that we're making our actual cost of goods margins on these?
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, very, very minimal effort sale items. So.
Okay.
Gotcha. Okay.
You can't.
You
can't. Sorry, I mean, we can't.
Okay, we're gonna take a 2-minute break.
Excellent.
Okay, so we'll call the meeting back into order at 5:43. And postage is at 200, is that gonna be correct?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go on to NWAC and Masters. P&S fees went from 74, 78 to, okay, I see what we did, but we put everything in one lump. So we went from P&S down to 1,200. Is that going to meet P&S fees?
Based on the projected number of swimmers, yes.
Okay.
How many are we predicting? Here's why I'm saying this. If we predicted 30% growth by the end of the year for revenue, then we have to also predict 30% revenue for P&S.
I believe.
Would you guys agree with that?
Yes.
And we did it in a kind of an increment of 10, 20, 30.
But this is a pass-through, is
That
that
is a
correct?
It's a
Okay, so
pass.
either way, we also have to make sure.
Yeah, we have to make sure it's
Revenue
the other way
offsets.
too. Yeah,
Well, the revenue
yeah,
offsets
yeah.
expenses.
Yeah.
Because in reality.
Yeah, it's really not an expense of the
Hold
district.
on.
Correct.
He messed up on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, that number is actually not
It
correct.
should be 4020. The 1,200? 4020.
4020?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a big jump.
Well, it's a pass through and it would even out.
Yeah, that's based on 60 swimmers at 40/20.
So
They're all going to pay USA registration in September. That's when it bills out.
Yeah.
And then anybody that joins the team prior to September is going to pay it a second time for the current year. So that's based on 60 swimmers. That even might be a little bit light, just because we have
So
so
you're
many that
saying
join and
P&S
then
is going to
leave.
be what now?
40/20 would be the number based on 60 swimmers.
So then we
Which
need
is
to-
what we're basing the other one on, correct?
Yeah, on the pass through for the expenses and revenue are both the same. If with the 4020.
Where's the pass-through right there?
So where's it at, if you don't mind me asking,
It
Erica?
is actually right here, page 1, under NWAC .NWS.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
so it's
it's
4020.
40/20.
Okay, got it.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I don't know why
correct here.
Ron and I both missed that one. Sorry.
If I can make a suggestion for when you update the P&L, refer to the numbers of either one so that you can reference back and forth, or that we can reference back and forth.
I feel like the new coding is set to show it
Okay,
that way.
okay,
I'll double
excellent.
check, but I
Yeah.
believe it is.
Excellent. Thank you.
So that's also going to raise that 7,200 quite a bit.
Yes? Yes, it will.
Quite a bit.
Okay, meat fees, 5,000. Is that based on a good number there or what?
Sorry.
The meat fees.
Meat fees.
That's not a number I calculated, so.
6, 10. So the meat, so that would, if those are the correct numbers, then it would take our 7,200 up to 10,020.
Uh-huh. Right, there's a whole lot that needs to be changed, but
If I write it in, it's easier to do later.
so meat fees are your 5,000. Is that what they are on the front page also? Swim meets are 6,000 on the front page. Should be the
No,
same.
that's-
No,
No,
that's
no,
the
this-
swim meet revenue.
The swim meet revenue, gotcha. Got it, tracking.
And I believe that's at 43,000 for the dues on the front page.
For one, that's for one meet.
Doesn't seem like a whole lot of money. Sorry.
For one meet?
A 16%. I mean, if you look at it from a cost relevant perspective, you're making 20%. I mean, it's actually not, it doesn't seem like a whole lot, but.
I'm confused where you're going with the 20%.
Yeah.
If it costs 5,000
No,
and you
no,
make.
Oh, no.
It costs $1,000 for the swim meet.
For
Hosting a
hosting
swim
the
meet,
swim meet.
$1,000.
Okay.
It's
then-
$5,000 profit.
Gotcha, okay, I was equating it to the
Yeah,
wrong
yeah,
one,
I got
because
you.
we just
Yeah.
said.
No, 2 different numbers.
Okay, then where is, see, this is why the cross-reference is good, then where is the,
Meet fees?
yes,
Because meet fees are
I
paid
think-
by the swimmers. I know, I pay mine.
Yes.
I do too.
So where is that reflective here though with the pass-through basis?
And that's what I'm wondering, if we have $5,000 in meet fees for expenses, there should be $5,000 in meet fees
Would
on
we,
the...
and there's no meet fees on the revenue.
Yeah, because the taxpayer's not paying.
We
any
added that into NWAC dues, I bet.
I believe it's lumped into dues right
It's
now. the way
lumped
that it's
into dues.
calculated.
Okay, we need to separate that?
And it is separated in QuickBooks now, and the way it's being entered in at the front is separated.
Okay.
Um,
But if this is the budget we're passing, we need to separate it in the
Separate that
budget
and make it
because,
match.
yeah.
Yeah, because
So
that
meet fees.
46.5, that would be based on hopefully just dues.
Yes,
and that's when we were making adjustments to the
Yes, we
revenue
were.
number, it did not, so last time we met, we talked about,
Yeah.
if it was, so Steve, you talked about if we expect this much growth, and so that was a number we felt comfortable with as a dues
Dues.
revenue only.
so then we need to have $5,000 to
yeah, that needs to
NWAC.
be added over here.
So NWAC and the
Separate.
revenues, we need to have $5,000 added also.
So we'll just say NWAC meet fees,
Right.
and
It's a
we'll
pass-through.
label that as a pass-through.
The taxpayer does not pay for that. It has not, and
Nope, I know I pay
will not.
mine.
So, okay. All right, so that'll take that 10 down to, actually, which is good, because if that's a pass-through, then that'll take the hosting the swim meet, this whole NWAC expenses, from 7,200 down to 5,020.
So, again, with Wendy's helpful suggestions, yeah, I know. But with this one, if we could call it NWAC meet fees and collected, just so that, again,
Yes.
I would love to think that 6 months from now or whenever, that I'm gonna remember the difference, and I will do my best to do so.
Well, this is, the way it's coded in QuickBooks now.
Yes.
It should be showing up, and that's, I'm looking at it, and it's not showing up the way that it's coded to show up, so I'll have to go in and review. But it should be that when it's listed under income as meet fees, that's the money we've actually collected. And then when it's listed as meet fees and expenses, that's the money we've actually paid out. In a perfect world, those numbers are going to wash.
I understand, however, we have, there's still a little bit nebulous description-wise, and I just think if we added just a little tiny more descriptor, I think it would, even if you put pass-through, whatever you want to do, just something such that we don't, and I say for me, ask it every single
And
time.
not just for us, I think it is good.
For the public.
Taxpayers
When the
need to see it.
public
It's good.
looks at this, they look at that and think, oh my goodness gracious, look how
How much we're
money
paying for this.
we're
And
paying
Yeah,
for
because they
anybody."
might not see that
Yeah,
it's in the.
and they look at it and say,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
not.
we're paying for meat fees? Oh my goodness, that's not right.
That's
And-
true. Good
Yeah,
point.
so, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yes.
Julie. Thank you.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, so we're done with NWAC and North Woodby Masters? Yep. Aquatics. $1,000 for equipment replacement.
I have some tubes I need to replace, lifeguard
Okay.
rescue tubes.
8,100 for kayak purchase. We know that's pretty solid.
Now, can I ask you a question? Did the people pay for the kayaks?
Yes, they have. All
Okay.
all kayaks sold have been paid for and picked up.
And do you remember what the total on that was?
3,175.
Okay,
It's on the front
And that-
page.
And it's on the
Yeah,
front page of
okay.
revenue.
okay.
Good. Maintenance expenses. So Matt has done a good job of trimming this down. He's not here. Can you answer any of these for him, or? I mean, he's made some significant budget cuts here that have taken his maintenance budget from 53,328 down to 22,700 this year.
A lot of this is reflected in not having to replace our pump.
Okay.
That's the big one, the big elephant there on the 2014 budget.
Okay.
He is also been able to do some maintenance himself on some things that we may have contracted out otherwise, which has been really nice. And we don't need nearly as much. I mean, honestly, that 50-something thousand was the purchase of 2 pumps.
Okay. Vehicle maintenance?
Vehicle maintenance, we would like at some point to...
It sounds like an awful lot.
Well, would like to get rid of 2 of our vehicles.
But we're not gonna do that between now and...
We're not gonna, well...
We may, but it shouldn't be put in the budget?
We shouldn't be I haven't added it into the budget for that.
That's not.
What we have actually put in there for is to maintain these 4 vehicles with tags, with the registration, and also we've had to replace the brakes, do some brake work on the one that is used to tow the kayaks. So that has been, some of that was needed to be done, and there's one of the other vehicles that is going to need some maintenance done on it as well. And I asked Matt to...
You have a van, a truck?
A van, 2 vans,
okay,
a truck, and an Isuzu Trooper. We also have a utility trailer which must be licensed as well. So we are looking at 4 vehicles and a utility trailer for license and maintenance at this point.
Utility trailer.
Mm-hmm, to tow the kayaks.
Gotcha. All right. Steve, you good with? Okay. Looking at utilities, the projected growth in this budget is in line with what we spent last year. Any questions on utilities?
Do we feel confident that we've left ourselves enough room in these?
Yeah,
last year was the big increase.
Last year was the big increase. And
with gas prices
we
going
only
up.
had incremental increases so far.
Have we heard anything about, because I know I haven't heard anything about the gas going up again this year.
No, we have not heard either.
All right.
I think the thing here is, and if we feel confident, that's fine. But if we, there doesn't appear to be a factor of much here, and I don't know. Water, sewer, garbage. I'm not sure if that is a flat rate. Yeah, and if that is, that's great. It just looks like electricity. Let's see, that would be 5%, less than 5%.
Gas is the big one.
Gas is the big one. If you look at this summer, what it's projected to be an El Nino year with a warmer than usual summer for us. That's good for us in the pool because we know what cools down the pool temperature is the ambient air temperature. So if the ambient air temperature is warmer, we'll use less gas to heat the pool. Hence, we'll spend less gas than we did last year to heat the pool. However, we don't know what that's going to mean next fall, except that it should be they're predicting a warmer than normal winter next year. But we don't know how fickle the weather person is, excuse me. And so, is that enough of a buffer, or do we want to give ourselves more?
Joanne?
Regarding Clover Valley Water, I received a phone call from the city of Oak Harbor saying that our bill will increase for Clover Valley because for the past how many years we have been getting charged for
1995.
Outside
of city limits.
Outside of city
Well,
limits.
they've been getting charged for inside.
Inside, but we're outside,
Mm-hmm.
so it's going to increase to about $50 a month versus the $25, $26.
Because Clover Valley is in the annex area, not
and
inside the city.
We've had the ballparks open since 1995, and 20 years later they realized this.
And so our bill for that is due in
They're not
June
going to back bill us, though, are they?
for 2 years. 2 years is all they can back bill to, which they did.
Are you serious?
No, skunks.
Halfway through the year, they're going to tell us that. It's a good thing we're revising our budget.
This was
Those dirty rat finks.
Maybe we should.
Make sure that goes on the Dagon
That was-
YouTube channel,
That was
please.
Chairman Sean Merrill.
Spelled S.
Maybe we should approach both candidates who are running for mayor and see if they could help us out.
All right,
This is
so.
election year.
So how much can we expect that to be? Did they give you an idea?
It'll be about $50 a month versus the 25, 26 monthly that we've been.
So we need to double this number.
So we need to, but is that gonna reflect
2
the,
years.
is that gonna reflect what we owe them? And when's that bill coming? And how can we have to pay
It's already
that
at
up
the
front?
county.
It's already at the county. How nice of them. And we have to pay it all at one shot.
It was 300 something.
Oh, it was 300 something.
Yeah.
And apparently we do have to pay them all at one shot.
Yes, we paid them all in one
And
shot.
the $50 a month on top of that, so it's more than double that number.
Thank you. Can I have another?
So we would need to raise just this number to account for this year by about $180 ish, and then
Plus
account for that bill. Yeah, so a little over
Did you say
500.
$50 per month? That's $600.
Well, but it's effectively doubling. So we're
Oh,
right. So it's effectively doubling this number then.
Right. So we're just gonna
I
be
see what you're saying.
Yes.
450 plus another 300 for what we owe.
So we call
That's
it.
750. So that would
What is
be.
three something? Is that correct?
Yes, 3.
Make it 4.
Is it under 350?
Price is right. 303.
Let's go 800.
Let's say 800.
Let's say
Let's make this 800. All right.
Higher.
Thanks, Bob. Can I spin the wheel?
Do I stay?
All right.
Thanks, Jim.
Yes, that's right.
It's
It's
Jim.
Jim Carrey now.
Jim Carrey now.
Wow, we have digressed. All right, we have made a lot of
Drew Carey.
changes. Drew Carey, Drew.
Oh, help.
Are you two quite finished?
Yes, we are.
Thank you. All right, so we have made a lot of changes that we need to make to the budget. We've got some questions that we need to get answered. And then let's look at this one final time. Next week, let's have this sent out next week so everybody can come prepared where we need to make the changes during our regular scheduled meeting on the 18th. Is that good? Or do we have other suggestions?
We're good.
Okay?
I just wanted, and I know the others agree, thank you very much for all your
Yes.
time.
Yes,
Because
thank
the
you.
budget was in such, yeah,
It was a challenge.
yes, and the work you put in is amazing. Thank you.
So two things, yeah. One, this format. Again, I know that I'm trying to do this, but this format is going to be much more helpful. And so thank you for that. I know that's taken a lot of time to figure out where things actually belong. And so when we're only looking at the new, it's going to be a really helpful thing. Just one thing I wanted to bring up based on, well, I think it helps us. In terms of expenses, if we revisit the director and aquatic director salaries based on what we
That's
What we
right.
know.
yes based on what we know, I think that we can actually reduce that combination of expenses, which I think helps us. And I don't want to wait until the meeting to bring that
It
up.
will
I
help
actually
us
do. I
tremendous.
see where you're going with
Yeah.
this.
It'll
Yeah.
help us tremendously.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're so Sean, just to
Yes, go ahead.
what we did last time was we made numbers based on the high range of that job profile for a director based on, I believe it was
July 1st.
Okay, so it was based on 6 months.
Yes.
We know that regardless of what happens, that will not be the case.
No.
So we can kind of redo the numbers here to say if we know that,
September 1st.
right.
September, can we redo those numbers for September 1st then to reflect?
So it would basically be taking the interim director's salary through August.
Through the end of August.
Through the end of August, yes.
And then starting September, have a new director's salary
At that
and
high
range.
That way we don't.
the aquatics
Yeah,
director
gives
back.
us-
Okay, can we make those changes, please?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Thank you, Wendy.
Yeah, it helps us out.
Yeah,
and,
perfect.
And we need help
It
right now.
makes us look better. Who knows?
Well, it gives us less of a delta.
Now, I don't know if that will affect the aquatic directors.
No,
Somewhat.
no, because
No.
we're combining the two
Okay.
positions right
Okay.
now. So it would, I mean, yeah, it would affect the aquatic director
What would
a little
affect the
bit.
assistant I
It
think
will affect the assistant aquatic
where
director some.
Raymond's, yeah, okay.
Yeah, where she's my,
Okay, so I
my
just don't
right
wanna
arm right
forget
now.
that.
Okay.
Yeah,
However, the assistant aquatics director is going to be gone an entire month.
okay.
So we won't have to go up as much as we might otherwise
Okay.
think that we are going to. But the aquatic director will be able to come down some to
Okay.
reflect just the last 3 months of the year, and then we'll do the other adjustment as well.
Okay, thank you.
Any further?
That was it.
Okay, I only need one thing.
Mr. Chair, I move that we adjourn.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hold on, let me make this space and stop.
The light goes off.
No.